Welcome to another episode of the Strong Talk Podcast. I am Kalle Beck, and thanks for listening. This episode is brought to you by StartingStrongman.com. Download the Starting Strongman app on iTunes, Google Play, or the App Store, wherever you get your app. Just search Starting Strongman, and you can join in the discussion forum. You can see all the latest news and articles, including episodes of the Strong Talk Podcast posted right there. This episode is also brought to you by Kabuki Strength. Go to kabukistrength.com and use code SS10 to save 10% off all great products like the Shoulder Rock, the Duffalo Bar, Whiskey and Deadlifts apparel, etc. This episode is also brought to you by Barbell Apparel. Go to barbellapparel.com. Get jeans and other accessories and clothing that actually are made for fit people. It's just about the only jeans I wear now. And you can get 10% off if you use the code StartingStrongman at barbellapparel.com/StartingStrongman. Just got one of their polo shirts. It almost makes me look like I lift. It's pretty awesome. Also, if you are interested in coaching for the sport of strongman, go to strongmancoach.com, fill out the athlete inquiry, and we could help you out. If you just want some workouts to follow, check out our Starting Strongman training templates at store.startingstrongman.com. Use the code STRONGTALK to save $5 a month, and that's proven programming for the sport of strongman delivered right to your phone for just $10 a month if you use the code STRONGTALK at store.startingstrongman.com to save on our training templates on all the other great gear. This week we break down Europe's Strongest Man with my co-host Mike Battolino. It's a fun discussion, quick and to the point. We'll be the guide on advice on what to do in your first strongman meet is still coming up. Just playing with the audio a little bit on that one and want to make sure that it sounds good. Had a couple audio problems in the past on the show, but got some more equipment, learning how to use the equipment a little better, and making the show better every week. Appreciate you guys listening. 5-star rating and review on iTunes, all that good stuff. And stay strong. Enjoy this week's episode talking about Europe's Strongest Man and what happened. Welcome to this week's episode of the Strong Talk Podcast, Europe's Strongest Man wrap-up, joined by my co-host, Michael Battolino.
What's going on?
So, we're going to get right into it today. Europe's Strongest Man took place yesterday, and I know you caught some of it and watched some of it. I think the replays are already up on Flow Elite. So, I think we have to start at the beginning. Right. So,
and I missed the bus pool. So did you end up watching that?
No one saw the bus pool.
Oh, okay. So they didn't film it. It wasn't.
They
on Flow.
did film it.
Okay.
It was shown after the entrances, but it was super weird, and I don't know if the audio in the arena was as bad as it came through on Flow Elite. But they had some audio issues kind of all day. It seemed like.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. But. Yeah, they kind of just briefly went through it. The main thing to take away from the bus pool is that Halfdoor was the only one that finished it.
Right, yeah. Very, a bus pool that Terry Hollins can't finish has got to be insanely tough.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with how good he looked yesterday.
Yeah, he looked amazing. I think that's, I wouldn't say the biggest shock of the show, but maybe the nicest surprise. Wouldn't say it's a surprise, but he's had a rough couple of years. Yeah, and it looked like, and I think from judging by his Facebook posts, you come back and you have this level, and it's like it just didn't work out. I think him not missing the finals last year, I don't think made him very happy at Worlds.
Sure.
But then kind of having a nice little go all day back and forth with Janashia, who kept him out of the finals, and then besting him to get third, and Janashia got fourth. I think probably felt pretty good.
And I'd like to obviously want to see him get back to the finals again for his. Let's see. So has he done it 9 times already?
I think it would be his 10th.
This would be his 10th. Okay.
I think so.
So hopefully he can do that. I'm sure he can. But all right, so we basically missed the bus pull, but
so did the rest of the world.
Thor got it in about 32.5 seconds, and no one else finished it.
Yeah, I think it was 20 meters, and a couple others were pretty close.
That's almost the same thing that happened to World's Strongest Man last year.
I know. Yeah, they definitely keep making these heavy bus pulls. But yeah, it's weird because when you look back, it's kind of strange how they did that the day before. All these people, a lot of people paid pretty good money for those seats at Europe's, and then they're like, kind of like, here's a couple clips, boom, boom, boom. All right, now let's, you know, um, do a continental clean and press.
Yeah.
So I don't think I saw a couple remarks on Facebook that people weren't happy about that part, but overall, I think we have to just show that um, you kind of have to do something new to get to another level in anything, in business, in sport, in upping your social media followers. Like, you can grow to a point and then you have to do something to like expand out of that pool. And it seemed like Europe's did that last year by having, 10,000 people in the arena, and that was all the hype for the deadlift championships, which brings in more than just strongman. And then it seems like more they're just carrying off of that this year.
I think they kept it going. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good, but it's not like it's 10, now it's 20, it's 10, now 11, which is good. But I don't, it'll be interesting to see if they can keep expanding on how big that can be. I mean, 10,000 paid seats anywhere is huge, but that's unheard of in any strongman. But you'd want to see that become more of the norm, and
not the exception.
Yeah, well, more of the norm, and also, I think the way for that to be more of the norm is if this show, gets to 20,000, etc. Then other shows get to 5, 10. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but how that happens in America, that's the question.
So let's talk about that axle. For the most part,
you're skipping over the best part of the event, though.
Oh, yeah, the intro. Yeah.
Did you catch? I just got home. I had to run and do a couple things early in the morning, and then got home, and it was starting, and I turn it on, and I'm like, is Eddie Hall wearing a gimp mask and a chain around his neck? I didn't catch the part where it was where he broke it and everything. Yeah. But then I caught all of Big Laws's entrance. So did you see, how much of that did you see?
Nothing. So I showed up, I was driving, I pulled into the parking lot, and then you were texting me about that. I think you actually texted me, someone had already made a meme, so I pulled it up on Flow Elite, and I ended up watching the last 4 or 5 attempts on the axle. Yeah. And I got Eddie Halls, but no, I only got the pictures of it.
So just to kind of break it down, because there was some replays out there, is Eddie Hall goes out. Well, first off, I think I like the entrances. It's kind of weird if 9 guys go out and it's like, oh, this is Halfpour Bjornsson. He's the mountain. He's from Iceland. Here's Terry Hollins. Blah blah blah. And then the pyrotechnics come out for the 10th guy. Mm-hmm. Who, all the credit in the world to Eddie Hall, but I think this is the first Europe's Strongest Man he's actually completed. I could be wrong, but I know he didn't do it last year. He didn't do it the year before that. He just did the deadlifts. And I'm not sure if he did it any previous years. So it's not like he got second, and then Laws got first, so they're gonna hype up like the big 3. It was just I understand from a marketing standpoint, but he comes out, he's led on a chain by Benedict Magnuson. he's got like just his neoprenes, RIP Giants Pro neoprenes on, and for lack of a better word, a gimp mask. I thought it was like a Bane mask at first, but then I saw some videos and photos later, and that's a full on gimp mask. So I think it was a weird entrance, but if that's I'm a fan of the entrances, doing some theatrics in general. BDSM and the whole 50 Shades of Strongman might not be my thing, but hey, if it's yours and that worked, then it worked. But even weirder I felt was Laws's entrance, where he came dressed like in a king with a crown and a robe, but to the Superman theme song, which
Huh.
I don't. It wasn't like you. Maybe it's there what you get the rights to or something, but I don't know how the Superman theme song plays into like royalty or anything. But it was it seemed a little bit more forced than Eddie's, who he kind of
Than Eddie
seemed
Hall's.
he seemed to be strangely very much in his element.
So when I first saw that picture, I was thinking of the dude from 8mm, the machine from 8mm, and
Okay.
then, are you familiar with Brian Wilson, the baseball player, the pitcher?
Yeah.
Okay,
From the
the stuff
Giants
he
and
would
stuff.
do dressing up as the machine.
Mm.
So that's where I was. That's where I was going with that. I was like, interesting. Okay. So yeah, I guess they haven't done that in a number of years. So maybe he was trying to bring it back. I don't know. It was different, but not at all surprising.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What if Eddie doing anything over the top is never going to be surprising, and that's why you. I think it's hard to say that he's not the most famous man in strongman.
Did you hear what he said after he finished deadlifting in regards to Thor breaking that number of reps?
No, I missed that part.
He said that if Thor broke, if Thor beat him on the deadlift, that he would get down on his knees and perform acts. He said that in front of 11,000 people.
Yeah.
I thought that was I was like, huh. I guess they're not editing any of this.
Yeah, and apparently he also someone was asking me, does anyone know why he told that fan in the audience to fuck off? Which I don't. So that happened, I guess too. I didn't catch it. It's kind of hard when I'm watching it because I'm also trying to keep track of what's going on and write about it and update the site at the same time. So
it's a little less of a kids show, I guess. Now you gotta be careful who you bring to Europe's Strongest Man.
Yeah. So yeah. Hey, people love him. But what are your thoughts on that? That he's the most famous man in strongman. Like Thor, I think is known, but more. What do people when people talk about Half Thor? What they say? Oh, the guy from Game of Thrones. So he's known for that. So
yeah, Eddie Hall is with the documentary. Pretty much, everyone that knows that I do strongman, anyone. They want to talk to me about they're like, have you watched the documentary? That's always the first question.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, a bunch of times. I watched it when I paid for $15 on Vimeo for it.
Sure. Yeah, I watched it then. I watched it when some strange when I got a random email asking if I'd want to advertise it for them, and I made a couple bucks, and then I watched it again when we went to the Arnold premiere, and where he said someone in the crowd asked him what his next movie was going to be, and he looked right. He said he's going to do a buddy comedy with Brian Shaw, who was sitting up in the crowd, and said it's going to be called The Beast and the Fat Fuck.
No, I don't know why we haven't talked about that before, but that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So,
what was Brian Shaw's reaction to that?
Just kind of he didn't seem like he took it all in jest.
Yeah.
But he was just kind of like, yeah, that's Eddie being Eddie. What out of anyone's reaction to that entrance yesterday, I'd love to hear Brian Shaw's.
Me too, man. Me too.
His real reaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be in a room, he turned on Flow Elite. He's like, okay, gonna watch some Europes. Got Worlds coming up. It just comes on. He's surprised as all of us were at what happened and just what happened in the moment. That's what I'd want to know. So, Continental Clean and Press.
Pretty much about what I expected.
Yeah.
Honestly, very close. I expected I thought Laws might hit the 200.
Yeah.
But other than that,
it's a bit different. I think the axle was definitely fixed, and it was definitely a full 2-inch in diameter. Which is kind of, I think the one I remember back in 2010, the last time that this was really contested at a high level show, and Z hit the 215. And he broke it a couple times throughout that year in that time frame, I think. And I think people were saying, I think it was SCL comps
Hmm.
Strongman Champions League, and I think people are saying that axle was slightly smaller in diameter.
Okay.
Um, from what I recall, like I'm thinking of like Maroon Day muscle discussions back in the day, you know.
Right.
Um, so yeah, so this one made by Rebel Strength, it was messing a lot of people up, even at 160 or 165 kilos, whatever the first attempt was.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much. Belsac from Slovenia, I think not too many people were counting on him. You know, well, he's just kind of overlooked in a way, but he is very good presser. Like if you've ever seen a circus dumbbells work, it's amazing. Up there in the world for reps. You know, with anybody, I think. Um, but yeah, so he, you know, pretty much let's get, you know, once it got to about, you know, 200 kilos, I think is, you know, when it got real interesting. And, you know, it was Belsac, Hall, and Bjornsson. And is this kind of where you started to watch it, or did you just tune in a little before?
Yeah, I saw everything from 200 and up.
Yeah. The one notable was Janashia at 180. Like, he like missed it and somehow then grinded it out, and it was pretty impressive to come back. It's like how he missed the first attempt. You'd wonder how the hell he's going to hit it, and then he
Yeah.
blasted it up, and you know those big points for him there. But yeah, 200. So what were your thoughts once you got to 200? Did you think by then you know Hall was going to be able to, or anyone else is going to be able to put another 16 kilos, which is what, damn, right around 40 pounds on that?
I wasn't sure, but you know the 216 was pretty damn convincing. There was no, I mean that looked easier than his previous attempt.
Yeah, it's weird because and you see this when he deadlifts too, where like it's like, huh, you know, like the 200, it's like, okay, I think he could be 206 should be good, but I don't know about after that. But they just
Right.
kept looking easier and easier, and the 216 was by far the easiest.
Which I guess it's, I don't know, adrenaline, mental state, but yeah, he smoked that 216,
Yeah,
and then he you know threw it down with such disdain, like because I mean he probably could have done 220 or maybe even 225.
yeah, I don't doubt that. Definitely, I'd be interested what he could strict press out of the rack. That's all.
No kidding,
That's all
dude.
I want to see. Like, let's just do a press out of the rack, or like the like what they have when they like Joe Onasai back in Worlds, or in, Gary Taylor when they did like
Yeah,
where
the
they're.
behind the neck, the behind the neck.
Well, I think a lot of people ended up just doing it behind the neck because you can move more weight that way. But I think it
Sure.
was just from the rack to overhead, however you want. So
Oh, that'd be crazy with him.
yeah, well, just
Crazy.
him, and you have someone who's so explosive like Belsac or Kilkowski. Hopefully, you know he was missing this week. I think he's a little hurt after Arnold Australia.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Did we talk about him showing up to Europe's?
Yeah,
Was he supposed to be there?
he was
supposed
he
to be
was on the
there, yeah.
list. Dimitar was on the list. Graham Hicks pulled out. A lot of
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about Graham Hicks. Do you know what happened there?
I think he just said it wasn't an injury. He's just going to focus on other contests from what I recall.
He's not quite
It's
back
just
to his
yeah,
100%.
and it's a heavy show. There's a lot on the line. He's probably just
He's
thinking.
he's close. I mean, he hit a 212 log or 2 weeks ago or last week.
Yeah, I think that's probably kind of what he's doing. If I would, to speculate, is there's like the FIBO Germany coming up with a max log in it.
Yeah.
So he's probably just looking to, set a new British record there, or world record, or focus more on that than this. But yeah, and I think it was interesting. So we got they all did 200. It was interesting that Belsac skipped 206.
Yeah.
He's young. I think I understand the reasoning. I don't think it affected the points too much overall, because he would have, but it definitely helped in Thor's favor, where
Sure, Thor hit it. Yeah.
because Thor hit it and then was able to pick up that point, and instead of tying points with Belsac. And to go on that same strategy, we look, if we want to go all the way to the end, They end up. It all comes down to the stones. There's a 1 point difference. Thor
Mm-hmm.
wins. It ends up with a 2 point difference, and we have Terry Holland's fellow country mate, who got snuck right in between Eddie Hall and Thor in two events, and kind of put that distance there. If you look at it, where where Thor,
4.5 points
yeah.
above Janesha. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that that Terry Holland's, he got second. It went Thor, Holland's, Eddie the on the truck pole, and
Mm-hmm.
on, what was it, the tire into the chain.
Yeah.
So he got that little separation there, kind of like Burke and Shaw, like in a couple events at that past Worlds where then that's kind of the points difference.
And did you catch the whole flip and chain drag?
Yeah,
How did how did the chain look? I missed it because that's when I was at the store and I got back and ended up I watched the whole deadlift.
it wasn't. It was the typical like chain where they got like the big D handle and then a couple links and then the anchor at the.
It's been a little while since we've had that.
It was cool to see, and it was surprising how everyone keeps saying that Eddie needs to work on his cardio, and he might look one certain way in between events or after an event, but I mean, he didn't he got third in that event and wasn't too far off everyone else, and looked quick the whole way through. He had like one little bobble on the tire, like his second flip. But he's very explosive on the tire. We haven't seen him do very many those classic style events like that.
Right.
And I don't think you can say that he needs to work on his conditioning, because I mean, that was a very fast paced medley, and he didn't get bottom of the pack at
I
all.
got third.
Yeah. And even if we go into the car walk, Holland's put up a good time, and then it was the last heat, half Thor versus Eddie Hall, and it was very close with Eddie Hall winning a speed event. So
Well, him and Thor, really, I was really happy to see Thor do well at that event because that's why. I mean, that's where Laws made up those points last year.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, so it was interesting. But the deadlift, did you catch any of the
Dude,
deadlift?
Okay, so what do you think the best part of the deadlift was by far? What was the biggest takeaway from the deadlift?
The fan.
Yeah, dude, the fan.
What the fuck was that?
The guy. So I don't know if he was a normal sized person or just looked really small, but Eddie looked like he had this. He just had this smaller guy walking around with a fan attached to like a. So it was a fan that had like a drill charger.
Yeah.
And he had it very close to his face, making sure that Eddie didn't overheat. And then he left it in front of him while he was doing the deadlift.
Yeah, it's like
It was awesome.
Cordless, high-powered fan. I mean, I need to buy one of those. It looks awesome. That would take like a lithium-ion battery, like a drill. Like, when you get like a drill set and it comes with a saw and it's like 5 things, and you're like, who the hell ever needs this fan? Well, people that deadlift 500 kilos, I guess, is the answer. And you just need some sort of. It looked like he had like a small like servant boy, like following him around. This also happened at the last year at the deadlift championships to keep him cool. But the difference was I didn't know that you can then set your personal fan and blowing up cool air in front of you while the event's going on the mat.
Dude, he really is taking this. He's taking it to the next level. I don't know, like, Shaw does the little things here and there, like, put the sunglasses on stage. But a fan while you're deadlifting, like, can you imagine him trying to do that at Worlds? I don't think it would fly.
I don't think you can do that at Worlds when it's going to be televised.
Like, he's doing let's say he's doing like a medley, and they just have the guy running with the fan on the side. He's like, I need to be in the last lane so that I can have this guy running up and down the side with a fan.
Okay,
how awesome would that be?
I'll put it to a point when I'm helping or judging at a local like novice level contest.
Yeah.
I yell at people to not have anything else with them on the platform. Like
Yeah.
if they have like a bottle of ammonia, and I'm like, no, you need to have that, and like and get it all. You're a little nicer in that circumstance than that, but
Sure.
like I feel like a good rule is that nothing else should be on the platform with you. But at arguably the third most important contest in strongman, you can just have like a high powered fan blowing air up into you. Like, I mean, that's going to be added to the amount of rules that I guess we have to address as contest promoters at upcoming contests. Like, hey,
No personal fans.
yeah, can I have a fan? Can I like what's going to be next? Like,
I don't know, but he'll probably do it. He'll figure out the next thing.
like I see,
Dude, it wouldn't surprise me if someone carried him out to an event. You know what I mean? Like just like kind of like a king back in the day.
yeah.
Like a 300 style carrying. That wouldn't surprise me.
It's amazing. So yeah,
And then he sat down after he finished, and they're like, "Can we rotate the chair so we can talk to you?" Let's get the chair rotated so we can talk to him.
Okay, yeah. So I've said on previous, I don't know if just in casual conversation that, being, a good friend of Robert Oberst, I've never seen anyone who's better at finding a chair in any circumstance. Like I'm talking about, we went to like ancient temples in China, and he found a chair and then just decided to carry it around with him on the whole tour. So every time we stopped, we could use it. And I think he just took the chair like from like an office or something. But Eddie Hall takes that crown now, I think.
Yeah, I don't even know where that chair came from.
But
I mean, he was done, and like they're like, "All right, have a seat. We got the fan back." And I mean, you could tell like his temperature. I mean, he was hot after those. 10
yeah.
rounds.
Yeah, I heard scary things of his blood pressure rating after the 500 kilo deadlift last year. There's all the clickbait articles that went up about how he nearly died. So it's interesting. But yeah, like I said, you can't count out his cardio. You can say how he looks after or before an event, but he goes out there and does one of those events. So what other events? It comes down to the stones. Did you?
Yeah,
that was exciting.
I caught all the stones. I was doing some log. I don't know why I'm always doing log when I'm watching Europe's Strongest Man, but I had my my YouTube up in one tab and then this up in another tab. So, I'd play songs when I was doing my sets, and then I would finish the set, hit the stopwatch, and go over, and I'd watch a couple rounds of stones. But yeah, very impressive. When it came down to we'll go with Terry.
Yeah, there's two main runs.
Yeah, watching Terry and Janashia go was awesome. And you could tell that, Terry knew exactly what he needed to do. He's like, I need to hit all 5 stones. It doesn't need to be blazingly fast, but I need to hit all 5. I just need to be a little bit ahead of Janashia.
Sure. Yeah,
and he was.
I liked how they started at the end. They had to run to the first, so they pretty much started at the side of the platforms that had the 5th stone.
Yep.
And then they had to run to go to the first one. I kind of like that.
That was cool. They don't always do that, so yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty neat. And yeah, Janashia was like, it looked like he got the jump on like the first stone and the second, and then, or the first, and he lapped the second a little quicker, and then Terry, being such a veteran, was just faster in the transitions, and then just started to slowly pull ahead. And what happens, I especially feel when someone's not as experienced, is they feel that, and then they kind of rush it a little bit, and they have adrenaline dump. Because I think Janashia is good to load a 200 kilo stone, but
I agreed. Yeah,
I think it's like just when you get to that point, like shit, already lost third. You kind of like you see it all the time happen where then the athletes kind of, it's just like then they can't summon any power. There's that adrenaline's gone, that need to perform.
Yeah, it takes the wind out of your sails. Yeah,
but still, another good performance by Janashia. I think it's wouldn't be too surprised if he ends up on a podium again at Worlds, or maybe Terry could. It's gonna be interesting. Then of course, there's one point separating. I mean, who thought Eddie Hall was gonna pick up points on the car walk?
Right.
So one point, and that happens. They go. and man, that was pretty neck and neck
And
through the first three.
and I'm watching it, and I knew it would come down to that last stone because, and we've talked about it before. There's almost no one that could one motion a 200 stone besides Thor and Shaw. And I don't know. Maybe Eddie Hall has before. He might
I
have.
think so.
But I was pretty confident that Thor would be able to one motion that last stone and would save a couple seconds doing that, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and but I think he was still ahead. There was that little bobble where Eddie looked like he like that same kind of feeling where he's like, "Crap, I'm losing a little bit of ground." Thor was just a hair in front of him throughout the whole series, and then on the fourth he kind of had to reset it. But I still feel like people are like, "Oh, Eddie screwed it up." Like it was like another Poundstone moment. Where
I don't think it was.
But I don't think it really was that.
There was six. There were 6.5 seconds in between them. That wasn't. I mean, he didn't spend 6.5 seconds adjusting that stone.
Mm-hmm.
He had to spend a couple seconds in the bottom with that 200 kilo stone because, I mean, it's the end of a very, very hard competition.
Yeah, and it was pretty fast paced. It seemed, maybe not quite as fast as last year.
Yeah.
Well, other than the deadlift taking up a ton of time last year, but. Speaking of, so, I posted the article on Starting Strongman about Eddie Hall's, world record axle, and then people are like, is there any video of Zydrunas' former world record, the 215?
Yep.
And I'm like, I actually tried to search for that for a long time, months ago, and then I'm looking at the notifications in my phone, and who do you think I have a movie file from?
Craig Pfister.
And from that just got emailed to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Big Z WR Axel. So I'm about to watch that when we get done with this, but hilarious. So I'll see if it looks like something that I could go ahead and post out there without a copyright violation, depending on where this all came from. So
he probably had someone text him from the event 6 years ago.
Yeah. 7 years, from Istanbul.
7 years ago, yeah.
From Istanbul. But yes, and then so quick show this week. Appreciate everyone listening. Anything else you want to add? We got Worlds coming up. We don't know much about it. It's at the end of May. Invites are kind of being sent out there, so we'll definitely cover that in future episodes. But hopefully have some more news. Seems like we have some of the Americans going. We know or assume.
I'm very hopeful that Z will make it back close to 100%. I mean, I don't know that he will be 100, but I think he'll be close. I think he's gunning for it. He wants to face Shaw for that 5th title.
Yeah, and it's tough because, man, Shaw just seems he's so dominant right now compared to everyone else.
But we've kind of last year at the Arnold, we kind of counted Z out almost because on that deadlift, I mean, he looked human,
yeah.
and then he won.
Yeah. So.
And we're like, I think Z just won an 8th title. So it's, no matter what, I think it's going to be interesting. And I think we can talk about this next time. And this is just to put a bug in both of our listeners' ears. But, think about what kind of events you'd like to see in the finals if they're really setting up for a 5th title showdown, which, to my knowledge, this would be the only time that you've had 2 4-time winners going against each other in the finals potentially.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, so that's definitely a big topic of discussion for a future episode. We'll be keeping you all up to date on what World's Strongest Man's coming on. The other thing that's coming up is big news from the week was the ISF, International Strongman Federation, got announced on United States Strongman website. Did a little digging, found out some more information on who's all putting that on, so we'll talk about that as well, hopefully. But it looks cool. It's going to be in Texas, and it looks like they're trying to make we're talking about how do we get like these big shows with these crowds and that same excitement like Europe's Strongest Man or Britain's Strongest Man has over there, and it seems like this is a step in the right direction. So yeah, it's International Strongman Federation, or ISF. Hopefully have some more info, or maybe some probably going to have, some people involved with that on the show to talk about it in upcoming weeks as that gets closer. But I think it was in, July or June?
Right.
In Texas?
Was it July or June?
Something like that.
And it was in New Brunsville, however you pronounce that?
Sure, but yeah, there's a lot of big talk, and but hopefully it all it's more than hype. Which, from the research I've done so far, it seems to have some some real legitimacy. So, it's very
Oh,
exciting.
one last thing. Did you see this post from Eddie Hall? I was told before Europe's Strongest Man that if every time I swore I'd be fined 100 pounds from Giants Live from my prize money to be handed to charity. Apparently, I swore 9 times, but I thought I swore more. I've been told, and the money's going to two chosen charities at First Bank. Sorry, I'm not sorry, guys. I was told to be yourself in life. Don't be fake and have fun. If that means donating money to charity, I must be a terrible guy. Apologies to the children there. I don't think it big or clever, but damn, I had a blast. And I'm sure 100% of the audience did too. Big love, the Beast. That's awesome, man.
I think that's a good way to end the episode,
End.
because that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Talk to you all next week. Keep you up to date on everything in Strongman. You can download the Starting Strongman app. That's the best way to know when new episodes of this show go out, and any news, and hop in the discussion boards. Mike has a training log there. I have one which I update frequently, and any questions in there I'll be glad to answer. Not going to answer them if you PM me. So use the Starting Strongman app, 5-star rating and review on iTunes or wherever the hell you listen to this, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you next week. Listen to you next week.